Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope you all are fine. So, today, the topic which we are going to discuss is chapter number 2, communication. I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know when you can see my screen. So, chapter number 2, communication. What you need to understand, first of all, is what is communication in terms of computing language, that when we are transferring the data from a sender to receiver, or when the particular devices are taking the messages and sending the messages and data, that is communication. So the most important thing when you are communicating the devices is the devices must be within a network. Okay, so what is a network now? When we talk about network, if you are going to define network is a way of connecting more than one device, connecting more than one device in order to share data and and resources. Okay. Data, as I've told you, the messages are going to be sent from one device to another device. And if they are a part of network, definitely they are going to, receive that message as well. So we connect the devices in order to make sure the devices should be able to share data and resources. When I say resources, it means that different types of resources. For example, printer. When we talk about offices, there are plenty of employees working at one particular time. Okay, and if you are going to give printer to each and every employee, that is the wastage of resource. So instead of doing that, if you are going to make a network, then what is going to happen? You can just connect one network printer to the whole network, and obviously everybody is not going to use the printer all the time. Okay, so by doing that, by connecting that printer to a network, everybody would be able to access it, and moreover it is going to you know it is going to save a lot of money and a lot of cost as well. Okay, so in order to share the data and resources so that the cost can be cut down, we can make use of the network, and networks are designed. So when we talk about network, there are different types of networks. So now we are going to talk about types of network. When I say types of network, it can be LAN, MAN, and WAN. And always remember, all these types are limited to their geographical limitations. They are limited to, or they're connected with their geographical limitation. LAN stands for local area network. Okay. This is the network which is going to be built within the building. Okay. For example, in school or colleges, you will find lab where you can share the data and resources. So mostly the schools are going to, or colleges are going to network their labs using LAN, that is local area network, so that it will remain secure within the building. It is cheaper to build local area network, and you know that resources are going to be used within the premises as well. Okay. So the geographical limitation of a local area network is within the building. Then we have MAN, that is metropolitan area network. Okay. This is from city to city. Okay. So those particular networks which are going to work from city to city, for example, branches of the bank within the country, they might be connected using MAN, Metropolitan Area Network. So geographical limitation of such network are within the country, that is from city to city. Okay. So MANs are larger than LAN, first of all, and they can connect together many small computer networks. For example, within a city, it might be a LAN, but it has to be connected to another city using MAN. Okay. Then the third one is WAN, that is wide area network. That is from country to country. Okay. For example, internet is an example of WAN. That is from country to country. So WAN covers a much larger geographical area. Okay, as I've told you, country or continent. Okay, multinational companies may connect a number of smaller network together. For example, multiple, multinational companies, they have lands in a city and man from city to city. And if they are going to connect that to other country, then they are going to use WAN in order to connect it. Okay, so that is how we can talk about different types of a network. I hope this is clear to all of you. And if you have any query, any question, definitely you can ask me. But when we talk about these networks, okay, and when we talk about the network which is going to be larger, for example, when we talk about a wide area network, where there are so many advantages that we can share the data, we can share the resources, we can cut down the cost, okay? At the same time, you need to have a lot of devices in order to connect this network. So cost might be higher for a wide area network. Okay, cost is high because you have to use a lot of devices. If you're cabling for a dedicated connection, then definitely you have to use expensive cabling and servers. Okay, managing the network is not easy. Okay, managing large network is complex. Okay, sometimes a breakdown of a device, for example, a file server, that can affect the whole network. Okay, the whole network is going to be disturbed because of one device. Okay, then sometimes the larger the network, there might be chances of malware, hacking, and other cybercrime. Okay, and that can affect the overall network as well. I hope this is clear. When we talk about the network computing, so these network computers need two things. Okay, hardware, software, and the services needed and required. When we talk about hardware, the hardware for building up a network is going to be a LAN card. What is a LAN card? That is NIC card. NIC is network interface card. Without this card, you cannot connect your device to a network. Once you are going to install this card in your device, it is going to provide a unique MAC address to that device, which was given to the NIC at the time when it was manufacturing. Second thing, we are going to talk about all these things in detail. Right now, we are just listing it. Okay. Routers, that is another device. If you want to connect your network to internet, then without router, that is not possible. If you want to extend your network, then either switches or you know hubs are required and needed in order to extend your network. These are the hardware, okay? And these switches can be wireless, these routers can be wireless, depend upon what type of network is going to be built, okay? And obviously, you need cables in order to connect your devices from one place to another one. Then we talk about software, what softwares are required. In order to manage your network, you need operation and management of the network. And for that reason, you need some software so that you can easily manage your network. Then obviously, in order to make sure that external attacks must be protected, okay, nobody would be able to intervene into your system. You need operations of firewall in order to make sure that there must not be any external attack. Then obviously you need other security applications for the users, okay, and other utilities which can make your network work well for you and the customer or the person or the people who are trying to access to your system, they feel comfortable, okay? Because that is very important, trusting the system, that the system is not going to harm your data. It is not going to harm your system. It is very important. Now we are going to talk about what services can be given to the network. If you want to connect your system or your network to internet, you have to give DSL services, fiber optic, internet. Okay. You can provide some wireless protocols. Okay, we are going to discuss about the protocols as well later. But right now we are just listening what is needed and required in order to build up the network. And obviously, without IP addressing, you cannot connect the internet, and a powerful network cannot be built without IP addressing. Okay. So we can categorize the network as private and public. Network can be categorized as private network. So what is a private network, first of all? Private networks are owned by a single company or organization. Okay. And when I say single company or organization, it means that they are often LAN or intranet. Okay. So private networks are owned by single company or organization. Okay, understood? And they are going to use intranet. Okay. What is intranet? Intranet means the communication is going to be done within the organization. okay, with restricted user access. Okay, only those people who have the user ID and password, they would be able to access it. Nobody else. The company is responsible for purchasing their own equipment, maintenance, and everything. That is a private network owned by a single company or a business. Okay. Then we are going to talk about public network. In public networks, they are owned by communication carriers. For example, Ethosala. For example, Warrant. Okay. Owned by communication carriers. Carrier company. For example, Airtel. Okay. So all the telecoms company in your country where you're residing, okay, so they are going to own that. And many organizations will use the network, and there are usually no specific password. Everybody can access that network, and they would be able to, you know, get the things from there. There's no high security over there. That's why they are called as public networks, so that anybody can access it. But their sub networks may be under some kind of security management. Okay, is that clear, everyone? I hope this is clear. If you have any query, any question, you can ask me. Okay.